I have an idea for a project and I know exactly what I want the background to look like. So I started out this week's masterboard with that project in mind, but it took a left turn and ended up being an experiment. But I'd say this experiment was pretty successful, and I had fun too. Hi, I'm Christine, the artist behind Darlyssa Designs, and I'm happy you're here. Welcome. Hi everyone. Okay, for today's Masterboard Monday, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to create my masterboard on this side of the chart, which lately I've been gluing and collaging on this side. But this morning I was opening my coffee and I really like this shape here. So I want to create some little pockets and also cards that I can slide into the pockets. I'm going to make this kind of like earthy colors and very neutral, so it will go in different styles of books. I'm going to start off with a little bit of gesso, but I'm not going to gesso a lot of the colored part. I just want to not cover up all of this, but I want to put a little bit of gesso on here so it kind of blends it in a little bit more in some areas. And also because I think I'm going to use some ink or some watered down paint. I'm using a small brush. I know I could use a larger brush, but then I will get carried away and I will cover too much. But I want to knock down a little bit of this yellow, and I don't want to cover anything. I just want to see through it. I'm going to leave that dark like that because I want to see those numbers, and I'll leave these here. So we'll see if the gesso is a good idea. And then I'm just going to do the whole thing and make it look kind of grungy. I even want to get a lid or a glass or something and do some like coffee rings, coffee stains, like somebody used it to put their coffee down on, and get those circles in there. And then I will use this little template, and of course I'll cut the cards just slightly smaller than the shape of the pocket, and we'll go from there. And we'll see together what happens here, because I have no idea. Okay, I think that is a little bit better, so you can still see everything. You still see the blue, but it's not quite as bright. And also now the gesso will give a better surface for the paint to grab on. That's my theory. So let's see if that works. All right, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I will come back and stain it up. It says to let it dry, and I did. And now I'm going to go back and do some of this grungy paint. Now I know that the thicker the paint is, the more crackle I'm going to get. But again, I don't want to cover up too much of what's underneath, so I'm just playing around with this to see if I'm going to get any crackle at all. And then we'll see what happens here. We'll see where I go with it. This is total. I'm starting this video early. Yesterday I started, it was Saturday, and today is Sunday, and I'm gonna just play around with this all day before I post it on Masterboard Monday, because I want a really good effect. And if this doesn't work out well, then I'll start a new one and I'll have time to play around with it, but I'll definitely show you my unsuccessful pieces if this doesn't work out. I'm looking to see where all of the shiny parts are from the Crackle medium. So I'll put a little bit more up here just because there's not really much going on, but I really want to keep this. I want this to look like we're getting Crackle here. I have a feeling that a lot of it is the thicker Crackle medium is going to give us a better result. I've done this on canvas before, and I've done it on wood. And I think I've done it on paper, but I cannot remember. So I'm trying not to go back over the spots that look like they're working already. I think I got all the shiny spots, so I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll come back and see if we got any crackling. Okay, so again, I think we're going to change this up. I wanted to leave a lot of the charts in here, but I used first I did Crackle medium, and I really didn't get much effect. So I decided to keep layering and see what I get. And on this side of the sheet, I used Crackle medium again on top of the paint. And you can see I really didn't get anything. I like this texture, but that's not what I was going for. On this side, I got frustrated because I love using Crackle medium. I've used it on wood, but I haven't used it on paper, or if I have, I don't remember. So I took this tacky glue and smeared it on this side, and I got some really cool effects. So I definitely did get some crackling in here. However, I still can't see the map underneath. Here's a good section. So this is not a waste because I'm definitely going to use this. And then I started this one, and I didn't get any crackling. So this has a layer of actually Mod Podge. I did a matte medium Mod Podge. So I'm going to just, today, for experimentation sake, I'm going to use this on top of this dried layer of, see, sometimes these days turn into experiments, and that's okay. I am going to do the masterboard for the project that I started working on here in a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and do this so it can dry. Now, I did notice that the areas that had thicker paint had better cracking, so I'm going to put this on quite thick all over, and then as it dries it should crackle. And you know what, I am going to put a little bit of this in here if I can get it out, because I left the top off, and I think that's enough. Put some over here, and I'm just going to mix it and see what we get. And this is definitely not what I started out doing, but I wanted to show you my little experiment, because sometimes that's what projects turn into. And then I'll put this away for something else. So I'm just going to let this dry, and hopefully it'll start to crackle before I finish this other page. So then I decided, because I want to see what is on the page, I need it. Oops, that's not dry all the way yet. That's okay, because I'm going to do more layers. So I'm going to try, and because I don't have time to do coffee, I put a little bit of burnt umber, and I think I have that's a black, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of this. I'm going to start a fresh one here too, but I'm just going to play around with these, and then I thought maybe I can go in with my ink and kind of do some of the sides. So there's a little bit more of that. I've already done that color on this. And then this is paper, so it's going to soak it up and wrinkle, but that's okay because that's kind of what I wanted. I want old looking chart paper. So I'm just going to move this around and let it get into the folds. I creased this more so that the ink would settle in the folds of the paper. And I'm going to fold it over like this and just let it soak in. And I think that'll be cool. I kind of liked that, but I want more on the edges. So I'm just going to let this dry, and I'll start a new one so you can see all the way from the beginning. I don't want that many lines there, so I'm going to kind of fold this over and move it around. I think this is going to be a cool technique for, I'm going to let this dry like that because I like it in the creases. I'm going to very carefully put it over here and let this dry. And see, we have a fold there. I'm going to put another fold here. And I'm going to put these on backings later, so I'm going to fold it this way too so that it really gets a good crease in there. This was an accident. See, this is what I'm talking about. Things turn into experiments. That was a total accident that I figured out that the creases make really great. They soak in the ink a lot better. So you could do these with maps, or, you know, if you don't have charts like I do. If you live in a yacht area or a boat area, these captains have these charts because they still have to do it on paper, and they just throw them away when they're done. So we go to some events that have a lot of captains and yachties, so I have a few resources, but you could just use regular maps. You could just use regular paper. So I'm just going to move this around and let it go all over the place. I'm going to fold this over and just muddy it up because it's just too white in the middle, and I want it to look like aged paper. You see how it's coming through the fold there? And I'll fold this one over. I kind of put a lot in here, so let me get some on this edge. And just the longer I hold it here, the more it'll soak into the paper. It's really fun to play around with. You could do this with coffee. I just don't have time, and I want a really dark, old, dirty paper look. So I'm just going to take some paper towel and just move this around a little bit so I don't have perfect lines everywhere. I don't want straight paper. So there, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back with my ink and do the edges a little bit. Okay, this is all dry now, and I took out my distress inks, and I've got this, and I'm going to use this jar to make some cup rings, and I think I'm going to use a little of this burnt sienna, maybe a little brown, and I'm just going to put a little in here. And then, well, that's not really a little. I'm just going to thin it out a bit so that I can get a nice, I probably should have done something without those ridges there, but I could just mix it around as I go and get the jar in there. So I probably needed all of that after all. And so while I'm mixing all this up, I'll let you know that I had a comment about the Masterboard Monday where I created the patterns to make the paper doll clothing, and just, I guess it's a little confusing for people who haven't been here for a while. Just so you know, and I'm just going to do this first. These are so hard to get open. A lot of times, unless I do a really short masterboard, I think these are kind of, no. Unless I do a really short masterboard and go ahead and complete the project, most of the time I do the masterboard, and I do it on Monday, so sometimes it's not posted until later, but I will go ahead and finish it if it's really short. But if not, the project from that masterboard is usually on Thursday. So we create the masterboard to do the project on Thursday. We create the masterboard on Monday. That's just easiest for me. I don't really like this black too much here. This is black soot. That's not really the look I'm going for. So let's see if this one, is this one still wet? Yep. This one is antique linen, which I'm just going to do on the lighter spots just so they're not so white. It just makes it easier for me because then I'm not stressed out about doing an entire project in one day. And I like to, you see how this has turned into an experiment? I like to kind of just play and create one big masterboard to cut up and use in something else. And sometimes I just create a bunch of them and they sit for a while and I don't do anything right away with it. But just so you know, if you want to see the projects, so the Masterboard Monday always has a little logo at the top left of the thumbnail, and I'll put those in the Masterboard Monday playlist. And then the process videos where I use a lot of masterboards, I usually do on Thursday, or sometimes if I can get an extra one in, I'll do on the weekend. And if I use a masterboard, I'll always link the masterboard video in the description of the project. That's how it's easy for me. Some people like doing the masterboard and they don't care about the project, and some people like the project and don't care about the masterboard, so it makes it easy for me to keep them separate. And maybe I'll change that in the future, I don't know. But for now, that's how I like to do it. So sorry if there's any confusion. I should probably put a little disclaimer in the description, so maybe I'll consider doing that. But I hope you guys like that setup. I don't know. It just makes it easier for me to keep them separate. Okay, so I think this looks pretty grungy. Some of these are the Ranger Distress inks, and this is, I'll show you the difference. I really like these because it's watch this. It just, there's so much more ink in here. I like the Ranger products, but I need to get refills for my ink pads, and it's not in the budget right now. So I got these little cheap ones from Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description, but they're great. I like them. These come in all different colors. I'll show you my little drawer here, minus the ones I have out. I got all of these in the same kit. This is all one. I'll see if Amazon still has them, but I love these. And these lighter ones, you would think that they're not that bright, but they really are. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with this masterboard. Now I'm gonna do some little cup marks. So I'm just gonna take this and then, well, I didn't have to slam it down that quick, but I think I just got it all over my shirt. No, I didn't. I got coffee all over my shirt this morning. Oh, look at that. I love it. And then you can even, I like it when you lift it up and it drips. So let's see if we can get it to drip. You could take your little sprayer, and I've forgotten to put this in here, but this is the Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, and it is one of my favorites. Okay, so you see what I did. I sprayed it and it's spreading out, which I don't mind, but if you want a cleaner ring, you probably shouldn't do that. So let's get some more rings on here, because I think that that will be really cool, except, oh, here it is. I want them all over because we're going to cut this up. So we'll add a few more. We'll do another one here, a double one. I think that's enough. Maybe in the corner. Maybe a little up here. I like that. I'm going to do a little bit more there. Well, maybe some of these will drip a little. This one did. I'm going to spray this one because I want this to have a drip. But again, it kind of spreads it out. Sorry, I'm going to show you in just a second. There. It's spreading along the fold. There's a little drip coming off of this one. Love it. Okay. I think that looks pretty cool. Man, this would make a great steampunk one. You know what? I want a little bit more, one more over here. And maybe one more down here in the corner. There. I like it. That's cool. I'll save that for later because I'll do a couple more sheets when I'm done. Because this is such a small masterboard for what I'm doing, I'll do a couple more. And I might as well, since we have all of that out, might as well do some jar marks here. Okay, so I want to turn this around because I don't want to forget. This is the one I did with the Crackle medium and it did nothing. And this is the one with the glue and it was great. And then there was the other one that I did with Mod Podge. I love making these circles. These are so fun. And I'm wondering if I spray this because this has the Mod Podge on it. Ooh, I love that. A bubble popped underneath. That looks cool. I'm wondering if I spray this one, will it give me the same effect? Because this one has a smoother coating on it. Let's try it. I'll do the one in the middle and the one at the top here. Oh yeah, that's cool. All right, let me let it drip for a second. I am not going to do the one that had the bubble pop because I really love that. All right, let me spray it one more time and get these drips going. And this is a fine mist, so if you use something that's not as fine, you're going to get a different effect. Oh, what the heck. I might have just ruined it, but you never know. No, I think it looks kind of cool. These are cool, and I've got a little bit of the crackling. This kind of smeared a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that by going back in and going over it. There, that's cool. I could have used a smaller jar. Would have been easier. But this is the size that I wanted, and it was just sitting there waiting to be used. And I think what I'm going to do is dry off my brush here. And since this is so liquidy, ooh. All right, I might have done too much, but it's so fun. And I did not get my I don't know why I'm not wearing my apron. This is when you should put something over your clothes. Although I don't have really nice clothes on today, so I'm not too worried. But that's fun. Okay, we'll let this one dry. And then we have this one that I started. And I don't want to mess this up because this looks really cool. But I do think I'd like to do, and I'm going to use the Amazon one. There's no name on it. I'm just going to go around the edge. Yeah, that looks nice and dirty. I'm not 100% sure I love that color though, so I'm going to do a little more on the opposite side, and then I'm going to switch to that burnt sienna and see if it's more the color that I want. There, so a little bit more on that side. I love these round I don't know what you call these, but I think they're very cool. That's why I love these charts. Okay, let's try the vintage photo. I feel like it sounds like what I want. Oh yeah, that's the color I want. Yellowed and oxidized. Yep. And I want a little bit of that yellowish color, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get it from this. A little bit. Not much. You know, I think I'm going to probably regret this, but I'm just barely going to touch this. Yeah, there's a little bit of yellow in there. That's a little too yellow, so I'm going to go over it with this. There. Maybe a little. Oops. You see how fun just playing around with paper and inks and creating a cool background. That's all this is just creating cool backgrounds for other projects, and you don't even have to know what you're going to use it for. I have an idea, but as you can see, I've gotten into the experiment side of it, and there's going to be a lot more than what I need for just this little project. Okay, so this is kind of dirtied up a little bit. And again, I'm going to go over the edges after I cut. So some of these will be the little folders and some of them will be the cards that slide into them. And I'll do at least one this week, whether that's my Thursday video or I just do an extra little video where I show you what I do with these, but they got to dry. So today I'm just doing the boards, and we'll look at what we have in a few minutes when I'm done playing. So I'm wondering if I should add any jar marks at all. Might as well do a couple. I'm going to do one right over here by there, by that little. I'm not going to do all the little, and I think I'm going to keep these clean. I'm not going to do all the little splatters. And I think that is enough. So I add 3 more, 4 more. Okay, that's good. I love it. So cool. I can't wait to cut these up and use them. And I love this. This is why I wanted to do this one. And it will get cut and little bits and pieces will be on there. But I just thought, and I may just try and do that. I don't know. But I love it. These are so fun. Okay, so what do we have? We have this one. We have this one, which, okay, so this is the one I did the Mod Podge on. Is this the one I did the Mod Podge on? Yeah, and it did not work. So the winner of today for the crackling is this. This did not do much at all, and I'm wondering, let's see what happens. I'm just going to take an old... Okay. All right, I think this is going to be a winner for this one. Hold on, let me go do it so you don't have to sit here and listen to me do this for half an hour. Let me rough it up and I'll come back. Okay, are you ready for this? I'm super excited. Check this out. I love this. Okay, it's quite labor intensive and a little bit messy, but what? I think this is so cool. So why I did not translate this from wood to paper, I don't know, but you might be seeing more of these or a lot in the very near future because this is super fun. So I want to play around and see whether the layers in between. I would think that the Mod Podge in between would help. Definitely the brush strokes you can see in here, but I would love to play around with different colors. This is so cool. I love it. So definitely, I'm wondering, I think these would make some really cool steampunk ATCs, some really cool grungy tags. I don't know, but I'm really happy. So I know this isn't your typical Masterboard Monday, but let's go over what we have. This total accident, loving it. This is my favorite piece for today. Then we have the one that I just did, where I didn't really do much, just dirty it up and added the rings, which I think I got a little crazy with the rings today, but that's okay. They're fun. And then there's this one, which is quite dirty. I think I would like to make these, well, I guess it really doesn't matter whether they're the folders or the cards, because the cards, of course, when we cut them apart, when I cut them apart, when you cut them apart, if you make some, stuff is going to be glued on top of this, so you won't see as much of this. And of course, you know, they're only going to be, like, that will be a card, maybe, or a folder, or whatever. How cool is that? That's going to be cool. I would love to get some blue in some of this. So that would be, you know what? I'm not waiting to do that. Let's do a little blue right now and see what it looks like. Where's my, okay. Just a little. I just want to put a little blue in there. Come on, blue. This one might be empty too. Oh, there we go. Oh, the kids are out of school. All right, I like that. It doesn't really look blue on the screen, but let me get a little darker blue and kind of mix that in and see. Oh yeah, there you go. That's what I want. So we'll definitely have some blue ones, because, you know, that's my jams. Okay, so we have this one, which, you know, it's a little much. But like I said, this is a good one to tear up, and oh, I like it because there's already a little blue in here. So I might add a little bit of extra blue, and these could be the cards. The cards or the folders. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. And this one, I'm a little tired now. I got my arm workout. I do like that I got some crackling over here, so I'm definitely going to leave this section. But I might go back and do some sanding on this section and see what happens. So again, these will all come back in future videos. These are just the masterboards that I'm creating to do other projects, and I know this turned into a little bit of an experiment, but how cool are these? I love them. This was super fun. Not the usual, but you know what happens when you just start playing, you end up getting these really cool things that you learn along the way. So I'm really happy with this. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on Thursday with another video. This was fun. Thanks for watching.